Hello, welcome into another episode of First Look. And today we're going to have a look at the Mitsubishi MU-2 collaboration from Asobo and Inibuilds, I believe. This plane was dropped, I don't know, some point last week, I think. Nice aircraft. Obviously great external model. I'll get into some of the more specifics as we get in. I don't know if like some of the stuff opens. I'll have to actually click around. I've really just hopped in and flown so far. Did like one flight in it. I didn't actually like go back in here and look at anything. So it looks like some tray tables. Does this guy open? It does, indeed. So we got a little, what is that, a passenger door there. Is that just, is it low enough? Yeah, I guess the clearance is probably low enough you could just step in, I guess. And then, is there like a locker or something? I think those are buttons for lights. I don't think they're functional. Nice 1980s style curtains, I would say. And not much else to be had in terms of interacting with stuff there. So yeah, that's kind of, so you can open it obviously, and that's about it there. You do get this kind of semi-EFV, which is just a phone, just a smartphone, and it has a map, which is just it's just a plugin for what you would see on the VFR map, and I don't even know what these do. Unless maybe it's only in GPS mode, it'll update where your departure and arrival is. I can't type in here or do anything, so I don't really know like what I should be doing, but I've only really flown this in classic mode, and that's what I plan to do today, as well. You guys know I tend to like to look at I'll have my, if I end up using a plane a good amount down the line, I'll throw in the GPS or something, get some arrivals and stuff going, but most of the time I just really enjoy kind of hunting radials and stuff like that. It's what I enjoy, especially going at speed too. Just keeps it active, keeps the mind active. In the settings here, you can choose classic cockpit or no. If you choose no, you're gonna get the 530 to pop in right there. I actually think it looks worse too. It just looks really blank. I think that layout just works for me a lot better visually, personally. You have a passenger variant. I've never actually seen the cargo variant, but we can have a look. Oh, okay. Looks like you got some nets. Some boxes. I don't know how that changes the load. And we'll talk about loading and kind of how it acts on the ground in a little bit here too. You can click takeoff configuration. I don't know if that will jump it from cold and dark all the way up, but the first time I ever flew this, I clicked it just to see it. Really all I hadn't done was flaps, so put the flaps into position and whatnot. It looks like the visors are 1-point click and swing situation. Oh, you may have to have this one out to have this one out because they overlap. Maybe? Yeah. That's kind of cool that they at least thought about the logic behind that. So that means the reverse would have to be true for putting them back, right? Or if I snap this one back, it snaps both back. Okay, so that's a neat little thing. Your lights up here, anti-ice stuff. I don't think anti-ice is functional. Visual ice on the windshield. I don't think it's functional right now. Actually, it could get us into some trouble on this flight because it's not that cold out here on the coast. We're in southern Oregon, but we should probably keep our altitude pretty low because this thing, there's a lot of windshield and windows. Like these side windows are huge, and it will just because the only full flight I did in it, I iced, and it was bad. I mean, just purely relying on the instruments at that point, and obviously under speed and all that stuff. Some of these work, some of them do not. Windshield anti-ice cycle does not appear to work. Wipers are functional but don't do anything to the actual water on the windshield, so keep that in mind. I think all of your lights work, and that's about it for the overhead. You'll want to make sure that you have your this will be your nav 2 radio. Make sure you have that on if you're going to use it. If not, I mean, you can just obviously you can use one radio. And you have ADF frequencies. Oops, never actually messed with those. ADF frequencies in here, and transponder, and you have what I really like. So you have 3 comm frequencies, so you can have kind of one sitting in the hopper if you want to, if you're going to change frequencies, and then you have 2 nav radios, both of which can be active at once. So by that I mean you can partition it so you're pinging one over here, and you have your main over here that you're flying either nav mode on or just flying heading. We'll get into autopilot in more detail as we get up, but just a quick run through. You have AP on, master switch, engage, heading, capture, track, glide slope, and then altitude hold. Again, we'll get into capture and track in a little bit. I have not gotten the GS to work like automatically, as in like tracking, you know, bringing that nose down on an ILS approach. I've just been flying manual ILS approaches because I can't seem to get it to go, but it's probably very picky about the altitude and the distance at which you're supposed to be, and getting it captured correctly. So a bit different in this plane. Battery to on is the key turn. That's actually not mags, so we'll put our battery on first. You want do we have a, was there a external power switch? I don't think there was. Anyway, so with battery on, we're going to turn our tanks on. We're going to get our prop to full. And we're going to, I think you can stop. Sorry. I think you can, I think you start both at once. I've just started right and then left. So I'm gonna do it that way. We'll crack this a bit. And then we want our engine in to run. And we should get a start on the right. It does take a second. It's actually like that the pacing is just a little bit different in this plane too. The whole plane just feels a bit different overall. So now you can see fuel flowing. Temps coming up, and you can hear that. I think this switch comes back up to automatically, so it's kind of interesting. Go for left. Probably pull that prop down a little bit to a safe zone. Felt like in a plane with the props that close to the window, that would just be that made me so unnerved in real life. power up. And we'll pull that down a hair. Not blowing anything up. These are unsafe. I think these need to run. I think these need to stay and run, if I remember. But I also wonder if it drains power if it doesn't need to be. Let's swap. Yeah, it doesn't. It actually, resists you pulling it down, actually. Yeah, it's almost like you can't even do it when it's running. So that's interesting. Fuel feed is... I haven't quite figured out fuel feed in this plane. I did run out of fuel when I did a short flight before. It seems like, you know, you just... With your center full, you're gonna be fine for, I mean, gosh, several hundred nautical miles, I would think. The outers, or the tip tanks, are tiny, so if you are actually going to, if I can just close this for a second, if you are actually going to feed from your tips, just understand that those drain really, really fast. So your center is marked here, and then you have your left and right mains, which carry about half of the center tank. No, they carry about 100 gallons each. So I'd probably put some in there as well. And then I'm gonna go ahead and weigh this down a little bit, just because I like to feel what it's like when it's, and I'm gonna shift that CG up. So, should be okay. Should have plenty of fuel at this point. It's just a matter of what I don't see here. Let's get the inverters and the gens going. What I don't see here is, so outer tank empty. That's for a test. What I'd love to see is the fuel quantity in the right and left main, or is that these? It might be these. Actually, let me just double check again. Let me pull one of these down and see if the needle moves. Yeah, okay, so your left and right main are marked there as well. What you don't see is how much is in your tip tanks. Again, it's really just a tiny transfer tank. You're talking about 15 gallons max each tank, so I just don't know how fuel transfers between mains and center, or vice versa. I don't really see any, like, I can tell it's feeding off of, it maybe has auto feed, is the only thing I can really think. Don't really see anything about cross feed or anything like that. Okay. We're spending a little too much time here. So, the goal here is to fly up to Pearson, which is just across the Columbia River from Portland on the Washington side, Vancouver, Washington. Really nice scenery, and this is a nice freeware scenery for OTH as well. Southwest Oregon Regional is where we're at right now. We will be with our friends on PE here very shortly. I'm just going to log in and drop the plan in. I'm going to fly the famous North Bend 7 departure, which, well, or infamous. It's a very busy departure if you're flying Slant Alpha, like we are right now. So, GPS not so much, but especially coming off of runway 5, which is pretty common here. It's quite complex.
Pilot edge connected.
And a quick note while I'm doing the plan here, just a reminder, you can support us over on the Patreon by going to patreon.com/EdamanosVA, and you can get your free 7-day free trial and check out liveries and sceneries and all the cool stuff we do over there. So for icing, because it's not modeled yet, de-ice is not, I'm thinking we should keep it pretty low. And the minimum for these airways, I think, is pretty low, because it's all western lowland, so minimum 6 there, you know, so we could do maybe 9,000. Keep it, you know, we could even do 7,000 if we wanted to, but we'll go 9,000. The reason I chose to fly up to Pearson, besides the fact that it's a nice scenery, is because it looks like potentially VFR, marginal VFR conditions up there. So, and they only have, I believe, an RNAV procedure for IFR approaches. So that's not going to happen in this plane, obviously. So this is a weather radar, an old school one. It is functional. You'll probably see it when we're airborne or when we're moving. You'll probably see a light of green. We got all sorts of clouds around us here today. Okay. Ground is 27.1. I don't think they have any clearance frequency here. We can tune ATIS if we like. 35075. And that's going to help us determine, let's see, 7.5, so oh, it's not, there's no ATIS here. It's AWOS. 27.1. COM 2, we're going to set for tower. 1845. Seattle Center at this location, 2755, although that may not be our departure frequency. We'll just have to tune in what we're looking for here. Okay, so North Bend VOR is 13.85. See, we have it here on the ground. North Bend 7 departure is going to depend on our runway. I'm actually just going to put in, try to get some information from their tech system. Yeah, they don't have it. So it's really just, what do we have? What are we dealing with here on the ground? So 210 at Niner. It would be nice if we got something different than, so like if we got runway 23, that's not bad. That's not bad at all, because it's basically straight out on the 253 radial. We fly the 253 radial until above 1,300 feet, and then we ducktail back to the North Bend VOR direct, which is, it's not too bad to do. The problem is on runway 5, you have to go back to the 253 radial and then go back. So you're basically doing a figure 8. And as you can imagine, in a plane that's laying off, it's very, very busy. So I always kind of freak out when I'm doing this departure. But we'll see what they give us. Hopefully we get runway 23. But we're going to swing this around to the 253 radial. Let's see, 255. 543. Yeah. So we know we need to fly that. Most of this departure I will probably do on heading because getting established on a track is even more busy in this aircraft than some of the other aircraft I would do this line out with. So most likely just going to be on heading and following that line. So kind of old school VOR. Just using a heading to follow rather than locking on. Okay, let's see if we can get a clearance out of North Bend. North Bend ground, good afternoon, November 1890 Sierra Victor IFR 2 Pearson. Oh, wait.
32 Sierra Victor, North Bend ground, stand by.
Sweet. By the way, make sure if you're on a network you have TX1 turned on. So basically you can transmit, but you're not going to hear the response unless you're, that happened to me the first time too. I was like, what is happening? So keep that in mind.
Well, 1800 Sierra Victor, clear to Vancouver Pearson Field, North Bend 7 departure, Rares transition, Victor 287, Newburgh direct, maintain 9,000, Seattle Center frequency 121.4, squawk 2356.
November 1890 Sierra Victor cleared to Pearson, North Bend 7 departure, Rares transition, Victor 287 Newburgh, then direct, maintain 9,000, Seattle Center frequency 121.4, squawk 2356.
9 Sierra Victor, read back correct. 4 Bravo Whiskey, were you given a approach clearance yet?
November 164 Bravo Whiskey, I was not given an approach clearance.
4 Bravo Whiskey, Flagstaff Airport, 12 o'clock, 8 miles, do you have it in sight?
And then no battleground.
Airport in sight, November 164 Bravo Whiskey.
I'm just changing my
Series 4 Bravo Whiskey, cleared visual approach, runway 21, contact Flagstaff Tower.
Rares is on the...
Cleared visual approach, runway 21, contact Flagstaff Tower, have a good day.
So I'm actually going to do... Yeah, so see how I can have both now? So what I'm going to be looking over here for when I need to depart the VOR on the 8 radial outbounds. So we just... That's 8 right there. So we'll know when we get to North Bend. She gave me Rares, which is already on the Victor 287, and so I need to depart on the 8 radial to get there. So, altimeter 29902. So we are standard here. Need to get that. Let's get our transponder frequency 2356. Great. Okay. We're pretty much ready to roll at this point. Hoping, crossing fingers for runway 23. Please, 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 please. Do not want to do the dreaded figure 8. 21.4 is what she gave for airborne. So we'll just pop that in there so we know what to transfer to. Northbound ground, November 9 Sierra Victor, General Aviation, ready to taxi.
Reach another Sierra Victor, runway 23, taxi via Bravo Alpha, cross runway 31 at Alpha.
Runway 23 via Bravo Alpha, cross runway 31 at Alpha, 9 Sierra Victor. Okay, so sweet, let's get it. Now I think, so first thing as we're kind of rolling here, a couple things to think about. Number one is this plane kind of feels like paper on the ground. It's just very jittery, and it doesn't matter the weight you put in it, it just feels like it has nothing in it, like the way it moves. I have almost no power to it right now. This is something eventually when I do the Dash 7 review too, is somewhat similar. It just has, it just can go and go and go. And the braking too is just very jagged. So those are two things I don't really like. Another thing, if I just sit here for a second or go really slow as possible here, when I turn my head, that kind of that inverter sound goes away. And so I don't know what that would actually mean if you're in VR or whatnot. I mean, it's very smooth on frames and all, but the jaggedness of the braking and then the turning your head and having the sounds disappear, it's just kind of jarring. That's it, in general. So we did get runway 23, which is nice. We're crossing 31 right now. Pull the prop down, probably. I think there actually is. Actually, let's try it. Just so I'm not giving it too rough of a go here. Let's pull it down to where it actually says taxi. Okay, so I stand corrected. It's much better. But still, the behavior of it, like, this is just minimal amount of rudder, and it's so I will correct myself on that. If you're in taxi for the prop, it's not bad. It still does have some go, but not as bad for sure. So -1 for me, but you can still see the braking and just the way it acts on the ground. It's just overall. And remember, I loaded this to like 85% payload, so it's not like it's light. And we've got way too much fuel in here for this flight too, just because I'm concerned about the fuel transfer system. So, all right, set her over the tower. And we'll just get our Seattle frequency in here. Northbound Tower, good afternoon. November 1890 Sierra Victor is shorter runway 23 Alpha 1 for departure.
164 Bravo Whiskey, Flagstaff Tower's looking for you.
Whoa. Tower's looking for.
3200 Sierra Victor, you're Seattle Center, check your frequency.
Seattle Center. Was I transmitting on 2? Uh-oh. Wait. Well, then how is... Wait. 8, 4, 5. Oh, dear. I'm not sure I know how to resolve that.
Flagstaff Tower, November 164, Bravo Whiskey, right above you.
So 164 Bravo Whiskey, Flagstaff Tower, you can join the upwind, make left traffic, runway 21, clear to land.
Okay, so I'm gonna...
Left traffic 21, clear to land, November 164, Bravo Whiskey.
Tom 1, I'm receiving on... Interesting. Let's see if it's changed. North Bend Tower, November 9er Sierra Victor, is that better?
Jury 29er Sierra Victor, North Bend Tower, you're loud and clear. Are you ready for departure?
Yeah, we're ready for departure. Just checking the frequency, sorry.
Jury 29er Sierra Victor, no worries, runway 23, clear for takeoff.
23 clear for takeoff, 9er Sierra Victor. And I will put the yoke back. I'm going to have the console open, and you can do this on any network that you may fly on. There's like a coded console that runs underneath whatever you're doing in the sim that basically pushes out the correct frequencies and numbers to the program that you're running. And you can have that open. So I'm just going to have mine open to see why. I'm just curious why my COM2 is what I was speaking on without having changed any other settings. And then I didn't really do anything except to reset it. So maybe I just need to reset between them. Okay, we'll push the prop up now. Not full. So keep it green here, but I'll probably get those sounds up as well. For y'all, enjoy the departure. North Bend 7. So right turn to intercept the 253 being overshot.
Center Sierra Victor, contact Seattle Center.
Over to Seattle, 9er Sierra Victor. Okay, so we'll try 21. We'll just pop this over to Garrett. Seattle Center, good afternoon. November 18, 9er Sierra Victor, Columbia 1500, North Bend 7.
32, 9er Sierra Victor, Seattle Center, Seattle.
Passing 1,700 now, 9er Sierra Victor.
For 82, 9er Sierra Victor, radar contact, climb and maintain 900,000.
Up to 900,000, 9er Sierra Victor. Okay, so for the departure, we can, after 1300, we can turn back to the VOR. Yep. So at this point, we're gonna figure out.
Report Bravo Whiskey taxi to parking V Alpha. Have a great evening.
We're gonna figure out where the North Bend VOR is in relation to us. It should be roughly behind us, and then we're gonna make a right turn to get there. So I'm gonna start that right turn now, so we don't look like we're doing anything irregular here. Don't want to sound off any alarm bells. And then we're going to keep turning that course to where it is. So looks like about the 73 course. And we're going to oversteer that because we're gaining some ground in the opposite direction, right? Because we're moving. It's not like we're standing still trying to tune the VOR. We're moving, so. And I did not do a bunch of things up here. After all that talk, I didn't do a bunch of things up here. We should have some heat on. That's looking pretty good. We'll get, I don't know if we need that yet. Those are actually already out. So those start on, by the way, when you spawn the plane in. So you can see we're kind of headed back, but we're not really. So where are we in relation, right? Let's match our heading up. There we go. We're headed pretty much straight back. And then we need to depart on the 8, which is here. So we just need to make sure we turn outbound on the 8 radial. And then we can kind of calm down. We'll be at cruise by then. We can kind of calm down and just make sure everything's settled. Then we get the future VORs and whatnot. We're going to need Newburgh next. So. Is. As I said, very, very smooth, very nice externally, really no gripes there. A nice little rainbow accompanying us in the morning. And we're gonna be in it for sure at 9,000. We'll be in it. It's supposed to be clear up toward Portland though, so I should see it dissipate a little bit. We're flying into a SIGNET right now. That's what's happening. Just to give you guys an idea. Getting very close. I do wish, one of my gripes is I do wish it had DME equipment. That makes things pretty hard. Makes things pretty hard. We can actually still give this some power. Really close to steering a little bit more. It looks like we're really far off because we're so close to it. So there's really nothing we can do at that point. So you can see we're getting pretty close to the 8. So we're about to turn left heading 8 in a second. Actually, right about now would be as good a time as any because it's going to take some time to get there. So. Left on the 8. Wheel this around. She's coming through 8,000. It is a manual altitude when you get there. It does lock on pretty nice though, I will say. We're a little bit off. We need to steer back into this. And we'll get settled on track mode here in a second. But I like to line up manually. I just find it functions a lot better. We'll have some issues with the rudder trim getting in the way of your autopilot functions. right? It is like from this view, from standard view, you can't really do anything, and then you pull the rudder trim, and then you're kind of all over the place. So, but of course, I know many people set up their own views. I just am not one of them. So if you're one of those, then you're good to go. So now that we're pretty much lined up, I'm just going to let the autopilot do the tracking, so that, because we do have some pretty strong winds out here today. So what I'm going to try, I don't know if capture is exclusively for glide slope or not, but when I hit track, it's going to search a little bit to the left and then adjust to the right, and then land up on track. So I'm thinking maybe capture is not necessary for just VOR to VOR flying. I'm thinking maybe capture needs to be set when you're approaching the IAF on like an ILS approach or something like that. That's what I'm thinking right now. But unfortunately, Pearson does not have one. So, and they've taken out the. They've sadly taken away one of my favorite LDA approaches, which is the LDA Alpha into Pearson, which uses the 10 left localizer in Payload. So we can't even try it, sadly. But I will, I'll update in a comment, or if you have flown an ILS approach in this aircraft other than manually, please do let me know what you found. I'm going to pull the prop just back a little bit, maybe just one notch. It's at the bottom of that green. And running her pretty hot today because we spent quite a lot more time on the ground than I thought we were going to back in North Bend. Any lights up here that I don't need? Oh, it's retracted. It was liquid rain on the climb, and I haven't seen any indication that we're going to need significant de-ice. Time to see if we can get Newburgh on 17.4, and then we can we do. So let's figure out what that is, because we just I think we're passing rares right now, and so why don't we pop this back over to heading, and then we'll pull it into nav 1 and just turn it direct, because I know that's where we're going on the Victor 287. And then we can go right back to track. Not doing anything from Newburgh, so we're just going to fly a radial. It's like the 19 direct. So if we want to, we can tune that. That'll be when we're right on top of it. It's actually, let's see, 19. Yeah, so no DME equipment, no idea what ground speed is, and I reminded you about the switch, but I didn't have it on, so I'm not sure. Oh, maybe, let's see. Let me check the console again. Did that do anything? No, it didn't do anything. The radio's on the network anyway. But I would say overall, I don't think she's very fuel efficient, because we've already gone through what is it? It's 150 and it sits in the center, right? So we've gone through, what, 30 gallons? It's a lot of fuel for, I mean, it's not like we're a heavy or, you know, I mean, we're close to max load overall, but it's not like this plane is like very heavy to start with, or very big. I do feel like it's not very efficient. Pull the sounds down a little bit. And it does look like it's breaking up a little bit as we head north. I can tell from Navigraph that I'm rounding 262. Very nice. We do have a tailwind. Pretty nice one at that, so we should make pretty quick work of this flight. I'd say we'll be in Pearson in 25 minutes or so. Let's have a look at the fuel. So still draining from center. What wasn't clear to me when I crashed the first time I flew it was how right main and left main pick up or transfer. From what I could tell, when center drains, it goes to the tip tanks. Let's actually, you know what? Since we're in there, why don't we turn on the transfer? So it's pulling from the tips into the center right now. But what's the bridge between mains and center? So they're empty, so I should see that light on now. Oops. No, I thought. What? I figured we would see those light up. But outer tank empty maybe is not the tip tanks, right? So where's the bridge between those tanks, is my question. Does it just automatically start feeding from the outers when your center is dry? Like, how do you use this fuel? I don't know. I guess these are the outer mains, is what that refers to. So, yeah, I mean, I don't see any other fuel transfer stuff in the aircraft. Trims. So I don't think there's anything over here. Cabin altitude, this should be up slightly. into auto. Stall warning test does not work. Yeah, so if you know anything about the transfer, let me know, but maybe it's just, maybe it just, after the center's dry, it just drains from the others. I don't know. Not sure we'll go through the whole center tank on this flight, but that's why I loaded it all the way up. Because as I was just saying, it does not appear to be very efficient. And you could easily, I mean, if you're doing 400 or 500 nautical miles in this plane, you could easily be in a dangerous fuel situation. I don't know that I would do a flight that long in this plane. So we'll probably get a Eugene altimeter, I would guess, or Salem. Actually, what is Eugene now? We're passing Eugene right now. What is the altimeter? 2988. So we could probably come down a bit here. And I think, yeah, you can see she auto adjusts to climb back up to 9,000. So, you know, if we got a little bit higher, potentially VFR on top, maybe even VFR the whole rest of the way, just flight point. We could do that right now. I mean, we could climb up to 11 or 13,000 and cancel. But I'm just going to hang on to it because, onto it because it's not that long a flight, and I don't know. I'm not positive of the conditions over in Portland. It still looks pretty good. Scatter 3100, broken 4200. So choppy descent should be okay. Still see we're flying that track.
Fernando Sierra Victor, Eugene, altimeter 2988.
Copy the altimeter, Fernando Sierra Victor. Just put that in. So we're good.
Let's go 419, Portland clearance, clear to San Francisco International Airport, Mine 5 departure, FAMIC transition as filed, maintain 7000, expect flight level 33010 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 118.42, squawk 3707. Let's go 419, read back correct.
Yeah, we're back in it here. Out.
Albuquerque Center, good evening, Southwest 1860, flight level 390.
So you'll hear that she's covering several
Southwest 1860, Albuquerque Center, right.
Some of them you'll hear at center level, like the guy who's on the ground, you're not going to hear, even though she's responding. So they have, the way that they band out frequencies is pretty creative on PE, but she's covering pretty much all the western U.S. right now. If they get really busy, you might see a guy drop into approach level in western U.S., and then they have like one person covering ground and tower, and then the other at approach and center level in SoCal only, so separate. Up to, I think there's usually just 3 controllers at any time online, 3 or 4. But as always, outstanding service, and love doing these kind of learning about planes and flying new planes on the network. It's It's great. We're about 10 to 15 minutes out, I would say. Getting pretty close to Newburgh. Just mostly basing that off of time. Right now, you can clock things. I don't know what it has in terms of a clock in the cockpit, other than the clock. I don't think it has like any timer or anything, so you just have to clock it in minutes and seconds. Funny thing is, it has, so you have like DME here, right? There's just nothing to... Oh wait, actually, can you reset this? I don't think you can reset elapsed time. If you can do that, that would be helpful. Yeah. Oh, but you do have a map, so that's why actually I still put on, forgot about the map. That's why I put on Slant Alpha. Technically, I think... There we are up there. So passing Salem. I think it might be Slant Uniform. Technically, because I don't have DME. But because I have the map, I figured, you know, and, you know, if I had to, I could use a moving map and then you'd have a pretty good idea of things. So, I feel like Slant Uniform for this plane would look really weird. But I just had no idea that this plane was so rudimentary on the inside. Probably gonna step down to 4,000 or 5,000 here pretty soon. I'd say definitely by Newburgh, we're gonna get some sort of instruction. I don't know if we're gonna request vectors visual or probably we'll get Portland approach. And I don't know if that's 1445 or what Portland approach is. Sectional. 18.1 on this side. It's 2435 on the other side. So probably maybe 18.1 is thrown in here, so I remember it's. Altimeter for Salem. Corvallis, passed that a while ago. Salem, 2984, and just to look ahead at Vancouver, 83. So yeah, we'll come down to 84. 8. Come up. I think it was set a little bit too low last time.
Understeer vector, contact Portland approach 118.42.
1842 for approach, Niner Sierra Victor. It's different. approach, good afternoon, November 1800, Sierra Victor, level 9,000.
Victor, Portland approach, Portland altimeter 2982.
2982.
For 9 Victor, do you approach request and advise you have weather?
For 9 Sierra Victor, we do have the weather for Vancouver. If we get vectors visual, that would be great. 9 Sierra Victor.
For 9 Sierra Victor, is going to maintain 4,000.
Down to 4,000, 9 Sierra Victor. Down to 4,000. Okay, so we're going to pull the power a little bit. Gotta get really down there to get that button. That's one of those things when things get busy, it's like, the other thing is the, that trim slider thing that I'm messing with right now is very fidgety. You really have to go at it before it breaks away from altitude hold for whatever reason. I don't really know why that is. On Newburgh. Oh, that's not what we wanted. Just wanted to set a heading for now. We wanted to part on the 19th, so let's turn to 19 here in a second. Should show cancel out. Yep, we'll be right on top of it. There it went dead, and we can turn outbound now.
For 9 Sierra Victor, flighting 040, vector with visual approach.
040, 9 Sierra Victor. Oops. You gotta get ready to hold altitude. Power back in. wind showing 190.5, so I guess we're probably going to come in, what, 23, 26?
Niners Zero Victor, just going to maintain 3,000.
Down to 3,000, Niners Zero Victor. I do feel like the buttons are a bit fidgety. Like if you don't click something the right way or the right duration, it just doesn't. Like I feel like I peeled away from 4,000 really quick there because I actually saw the visible feedback that the button was not engaged anymore. So maybe more of a push and hold motion for those guys on autopilot. That's my recommendation. We should probably slow down. We're gonna fly right over Portland. It's right in over the convention center here on the river. Of course, Pearson's is on the other side. So this is Portland International and Pearson is like right over there. It's actually even, maybe even a little bit further. It's a bit rainy. If I could get lower, I'd be fine, but I really can't see anything. I need one last vector to be able to pick it up, I think. I think it's like right out there. Okay, a little bit clearer. I feel like there were at least edge lights. I think it's right over there, or right over here.
For Niners Zero Victor, the airport's off here at 9 o'clock, 4 miles, report on site.
We got the field in sight, Niners Zero Victor. It's right down there.
For Niners Zero Victor, cleared visual approach, and radar services are terminated. You can just advise when you're on the ground on this frequency to cancel IFAR, or this frequency for the missed approach. Change advisory frequency.
Change advisory route, Niners Zero Victor. We'll talk to you on the ground. Disengage autopilot. Pearson traffic number rates to Niners Zero Victor is 10 mile final runway 29er. Pearson. There she is, finally. Pearson traffic, November 8th to 9th, share Victor, short final, runway 29er. Pearson. Pearson, that was wild. Okay, so we touched a little bit of dirt. What is it the kids are saying these days? Go touch dirt. Go touch grass. Well, guess we took their advice. That was a wild, wild approach, man. Oh my god, this thing feels so fast, even when it's not going fast. I mean, it was almost stall speed, and I felt like I was going Mach 2. It's just so weird in ground effect, and then the way it acts on the ground too is just wild. This isn't. Wait, is this the scenery? What? I don't have the scenery? Oh my god, I don't think this has a scenery. Oh, it's contact approach. Portland approach, November 829 share Victor, cancel IFR on the ground at Pearson, thanks. Did I remove it? Why would I ever do that? It's a terrible idea. Maybe he used stock buildings on this end. No, I'm pretty sure I don't have it. That sucks. Anyway, there is a really nice, you guys saw it, if you watched the Comanche first look, you'll have seen yeah, you'll have seen the really nice Pearson scenery. Unfortunately, it looks like I didn't have it. We'll show it to you some future flight for sure. It's really nice. I never heard back from Portland approach. Well, that's all she wrote. Hope you enjoyed the MU-2. I hope you have better landings than I did. I mean, in terms of how soft, it was fine. It was just kind of wild. Again, patreon.com/hermanosva is where you'll find sceneries, liveries, all that great stuff, and keep up with what we're doing in the charity work on the ground out in Venezuela. And until the next live stream or the next first look, I wish you all the best. One last note as I'm sitting here. I feel like this is the best livery that comes with the plane. There's only about 4, so that's maybe another weak point for it. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the review. See you next time. Hasta la próxima. Saludos.